I want you to imagine a cold so intense that it feels personal. It's not just weather, it's an antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
It's January 1916, and the book tells us it's the coldest winter in living memory, the kind of cold where the frost is thick enough to snap iron.
Right.
And inside this drafty gaslit academy, there's a boy. He's standing in a hallway just shivering, and he's about to play a game of marbles that goes wrong in the most catastrophic way possible.
It creates such a visceral image, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
what's so critical here, and what I think we need to really dig into, is that the cold isn't just setting the mood. In the story we're unpacking today, Charlie Bone and the Time Twister, the temperature is the mechanic,
It's the key.
is the literal key that unlocks a door between centuries. It's not a spell, it's not a machine, it's
Yeah.
physics, magical physics.
And that's exactly what we're here to figure out. Today, we are taking a really deep dive into the second installment of the Charlie Bone saga. We are looking at the case of Henry Yewbeam, a boy who gets twisted out of his own time, 1916, and dropped, quite literally, into the early 2000s.
And into the absolutely toxic ecosystem of Bloor's Academy that he has to try and navigate.
Yeah, toxic is the word. So our mission today is to really take apart the systems at play here. We want to look at the mechanics of this time travel, which is, you're right, surprisingly specific.
It's not just hand-wavy magic.
Not at all. And then there's the complex web of the endowed children. But I think beyond the magic, we have to look at the family dynamics, because at its core, this is a story about a family war that stretches over 90 years.
A war that starts with something incredibly small and petty.
So let's start at ground zero, or I guess year zero for our victim. It's 1916. We have Henry Yewbeam. He's 11, and he's stuck at Bloor's Academy with his younger brother, James. Why are they even there? It's not for the education, is it?
No, not at all. It's a quarantine, essentially. Their sister, Daphne, is back home and she's dying of diphtheria. It's a very grim, very real-world setup. The parents have sent the boys away to this grand, cold house to keep them safe from infection. But in doing so, they've sent them straight into Lion's Den. They're staying with Sir Gideon Bloor.
And reading through the source material, the atmosphere of the academy in 1916 is so distinct. It's not just old school. It feels hostile. The text is very clear about the smell of gas fumes, the darkness.
It's oppressive. It feels like a place where happiness goes to die. And the source of that oppression isn't just the building. It's their cousin Zeke.
Old Ezekiel.
Yeah, we know him in the main timeline as Ezekiel Bloor, the ancient grandfather figure. But here, we see him as a child. And what's fascinating is that he isn't some terrifying prodigy. He's a petty, jealous, and frankly, not very good magician.
Okay, this is a key character beat I want to dig into. There's this specific scene involving a puzzle. I feel like this one little moment defines the next century of conflict. Can you walk us through what happens there?
Absolutely. So Zeke is trying to solve this difficult puzzle. And because he's a Bloor and because he's arrogant, he's trying to use magic to do it.
Of course he is.
Right, he's trying to force the pieces to fit together using his will, maybe some kind of spell. But they won't fit. The magic is clumsy. It's brute force.
It's the classic square peg, round hole problem, but he's trying to smash it in with telekinesis.
Precisely. And then Henry walks in. Now, Henry doesn't have that kind of showy magic. He just has a sharp mind. He looks at the puzzle, sees the pattern that Zeke is missing, and just manually puts the pieces in place. He solves it with logic in seconds.
And Zeke's reaction is not, wow, thanks, cousin.
Far from it. He snarls. He is completely humiliated. And then James, the little brother, who is totally innocent in all this, says the fatal line. He says, "Henry's cleverer than you are, Zeke."
Ooh.
And the text explicitly says that with those words, James sealed his brother's fate.
That is chilling. It implies that everything that follows, the time travel, the suffering, the near-death experiences, it all stems from a child's bruised ego.
That's the tragedy of the Bloor line. Their evil isn't usually grand or ideological. It's petty. It's personal. Zeke decides right then and there that Henry needs to be removed. Not killed, necessarily, but gone.
Which brings us to the weapon. The marble. The time twister. This isn't just a toy Zeke picked up at the corner store, is it?
No. It's an heirloom. A very dangerous one. Zeke's great-aunt Beatrice, who was a known witch, gave it to him on her deathbed. The object itself is described beautifully. It's made of glass, but inside it shimmers with colors that shouldn't exist together. Sunshine, moonlight, silver, gold. It's like a trapped atmosphere.
In the warning she gave him.
Do not look on it unless you want to travel.
Which, to a nasty kid like Zeke, is basically an instruction manual on how to get rid of your clever cousin.
Exactly. So we have the setup. It's a freezing cold hallway. Henry is playing a game of marbles. The text says it's Ringtaw, and Zeke, seeing his chance, rolls the time twister into the circle.
And Henry, unsuspecting, just picks it up.
He picks it up. And this is where the writing shifts from a school drama to, high fantasy. Henry looks into the marble and he doesn't see glass. He sees visions. He sees golden domes, cities bathed in sunlight, glass rivers. It's a world that is completely alien to 1916 England.
But while he's mesmerized by this visual, the audio landscape changes. The text mentions he starts hearing something very specific. Cats.
Yes, the meowing of cats. It seems like such a random detail in the moment, a hallucination maybe. But as we learn later, those cats are very real entities waiting for him on the other side of time.
So the magic takes hold. Henry realizes too late that something is terribly wrong. He tries to leave a message. He has a piece of chalk in his pocket. He scrawls on the floor, "Sorry, James, the marbles." And then he just vanishes.
He is literally ripped out of his timeline. And this brings us to the mechanics of the arrival. See, Henry doesn't just fast forward. He seems to be suspended, almost in stasis. He reappears in the exact same spot in the hallway, but it's roughly 90 years later. Now, why then? Why that specific moment in the early 2000s?
This is the part that I found so interesting. It's what you called the thermal lock. The text suggests he pops out of the marble because the temperature in the present day finally dropped low enough to match the temperature of that night in 1916.
Exactly.
It's a fascinating constraint on the magic, isn't it? It suggests the time twister seeks equilibrium. It couldn't just deposit him in 1950 or 1980 because the atmospheric conditions weren't identical. It's like the door only opens when the pressure on both sides is equal.
Which is terrifying, right? Because if this particular winter in the present day hadn't been historically cold, Henry would still be in that marble. He could have been trapped for another 100 years or more.
Exactly. He is entirely at the mercy of the weather. And for Henry, no time has passed at all. He blinks, and the gas lights are gone, replaced by electric bulbs. The air smells different, but the cold is the same.
Enter Charlie Bone, our protagonist. He's walking through the hall and sees this boy literally materialize out of the frost. And his first reaction, understandably, is that he's seeing a ghost, which is a reasonable assumption in Bloor's academy. The place is crawling with strange phenomena. And the boy is blue with cold, covered in frost, shivering violently. But then Henry speaks, and Charlie realizes he's solid. He's flesh and blood.
And this is where the narrative stakes just skyrockets. Charlie looks at Henry's face and realizes he's looking in a mirror.
The family resemblance. They are cousins, separated by generations, but the Yewbeam genes are strong. They could be twins.
And that resemblance is the most dangerous thing about Henry. It's not that he's from the past, it's that he looks like the past.
Absolutely. Because Charlie knows that upstairs, in the West Wing, old Ezekiel Bloor is still alive. He's over 100 years old now. If Ezekiel sees a boy who looks exactly like the cousin he hated in 1916, and a boy who hasn't aged a day while Ezekiel has rotted away, his reaction is going to be murderous.
So Charlie has to hide him immediately. He shoves him into a closet, then stashes him in the attic of the music tower. But this isn't just a game of hide and seek. Henry has dropped into a war zone he doesn't understand at all. I want to spend some time on this ecosystem of Bloor's academy, because the school Henry left is very different from the one he's arrived in.
Oh, it is. In 1916, it was just a strict, cold boarding school. In the present, it's a gathering place for the Endowed, the descendants of the Red King. Charlie's one of them, but there's this whole roster of kids with powers, and they're split into very clear factions.
Let's break down these factions, because Henry is going to have to dodge all of them. You have the establishment, the bullies. At the top, you have Manfred Bloor.
The head boy. Manfred is the enforcer. His power is hypnotism. And it's not the dangling watch kind of hypnotism you see in cartoons. It's invasive. If you look into his eyes, he can overwrite your will. He represents total control.
He's terrifying. Then you have the more physical threats. Asa Pike.
Asa is a werebeast. The text describes his transformation at dusk. He doesn't just get hairy, he becomes a predator. He prowls the woods around the academy. He's the muscle of the group. Pure physical intimidation.
And Zelda Dubinsky. She's telekinetic.
But her telekinesis is tied directly to her temper. She gets angry, and furniture starts flying. She slams doors with her mind. She's chaotic energy. So you have Manfred, the mind controller, Asa, the physical beast, and Zelda, the chaotic force. That's a terrifying trio for a confused Edwardian boy to run into.
A whole new level of school bully. But then you have the wild cards, the kids who are sort of on Charlie's side, the elemental kids like Tancred Torsen.
Tancred is a weather manipulator, but like Zelda, his power is tied to his emotions. If he gets into an argument, he generates winds, rain, thunder. He literally brings the storm indoors. He's an ally to Charlie for the most part, but he's volatile. You never know when he's going to go off.
And then Lysander Sage and Gabriel Silk.
Lysander can call upon his spirit ancestors, usually powerful African spirits. He's the wise, grounding force in their little group. And Gabriel. Gabriel Silk is really the heart of the group. He's a psychometric.
He can feel emotions and history just by touching clothing.
Exactly. It sounds like a soft power, but as we'll see with the Black Love incident, it opens him up to immense pain. It's a power of pure empathy.
And of course, there's Charlie himself. His talent is hearing voices in photographs and paintings.
Which is an investigative talent. Charlie's the detective of the group. He uncovers the secrets that the Bloors have tried to bury for generations.
So Henry is navigating this absolute minefield of teenage superpowers. But here's the thing that drives the plot. Henry doesn't care about the Red King. He doesn't care about the factions or the school politics. He just wants to go home.
And you can't blame him. He left a dying sister and a helpless little brother. The psychological toll on him must be immense. He's trapped in a future he never asked for.
And that desperation creates a sense of urgency that overrides his logic, which leads us directly to the freezer experiment.
Yes. This is one of the most stressful sequences in the book because it's so clearly a bad idea, but you completely understand why he does it.
Walk us through his logic here. It's almost scientific in a childlike way.
It is. Henry thinks, the cold brought me here, therefore extreme cold can send me back. It's a child's understanding of science and magic mixed together. A causes B, so more of A will reverse B. He convinces Charlie to lock him inside the school's huge industrial walk-in freezer.
And Charlie, bless him, is very hesitant, but Henry is so desperate that he agrees. He locks the door and stands outside watching through the little glass porthole.
And inside, Henry is freezing, literally dying of hypothermia.
But then something strange happens. The magic starts to bleed through again. Charlie looks up at the ceiling outside the freezer and starts seeing those same visions. The glass rivers, the golden domes. The Red King's world is trying to break through the thermal barrier. But it's not working on Henry. He isn't traveling. He's just turning into an icicle. And then the door jams.
The latch sticks.
Yes.
The metal has frozen. Charlie is panic-stricken. He's banging on the door. Henry is collapsing inside. It's a complete disaster. And this is where we get the entrance of one of the most important characters in the entire series, Cook.
I love Cook. She doesn't even have a name, just Cook. And she doesn't mess around. She storms in, rips the door open with what seems like superhuman strength, and drags the boys out.
And she doesn't take them to the nurse or the headmaster. She takes them to her secret quarters.
And this room is so significant, isn't it? It's hidden behind a broom cupboard in the kitchens. And inside, it's warm, it's comfortable, it smells of baking. It is the only place in Bloor's Academy that feels like a home. It's a sanctuary.
The ultimate safe space. And this is where we finally meet the cats. The ones Henry heard meowing in the marble 90 years ago.
Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, the flame cats.
They are magnificent. The book describes them not as biological cats, but as elemental spirits of fire. They glow with orange and gold light. They jump onto Henry's frozen body and curl around him, and their intense heat literally brings him back from the brim of death.
It's here that Cook reveals her own backstory, and it really changes how we view the stakes of this world. She's not just a nice lady who likes cooking. She's a survivor of a magical catastrophe.
Right. She explains that she and her sister were endowed with a subtle magic, good luck, and tranquility. Her father was a fisherman, and as long as the girls were happy and living on their island, the seas were calm and the fishing was good.
It was an idyllic life. But then a sorcerer named Grimwald shows up.
And he wants that power. He wants to marry one of the girls to control their luck. And when the father says no, Grimwald's reaction is disproportionate.
To say the least.
He summons a tidal wave and drowns their entire island. He kills the father, the family, everyone. Cook is the only one who survives. She learned a very hard lesson that day. Magic in the wrong hands is a weapon of mass destruction.
That completely puts her protective nature into context. She's hiding right under the Bloor's noses, feeding the students, acting as the secret guardian, because she knows exactly what people like Ezekiel Bloor are capable of.
She is the counterweight to the Bloor's cruelty. And speaking of cruelty, we have to discuss the subplot of the Black Glove. It runs parallel to Henry's story, but it gives us this terrifying look into the domestic life of the Bloor family.
It all starts with one of Tancred's tantrums, right?
Yes. Tancred gets into a fight in the main hall, and, as he does, he summons a mini hurricane indoors. Debris is flying everywhere. In the aftermath, after everything settles, Charlie finds a single black leather glove on the floor.
And Gabriel Silk, the boy who feels things through objects, he sees it and just puts it on.
And immediately screams in agony. This is where the story gets into some real body horror. Gabriel feels the physical sensation of the glove's owner. He feels fingers being crushed. He feels bones breaking over and over, and the glove won't come off. It's like it's grafted to his skin.
It's a horrifying concept. They rush him to Cook, of course, and she calls in the Dark Lady. Now, the kids have whispered about the Dark Lady haunting the music tower, thinking she's a ghost. But she walks in, and she's very real.
It's Dorothy Bloor, Manfred's mother, the wife of the headmaster, who everyone thought was dead or had run away. She's been living in the shadows of the school, hiding from her own family. She gently takes the glove off Gabriel, and we see her hand. It's mangled.
And the story behind that injury is it's one of the darkest moments in the series, I think.
It's devastating. Dorothy was a violinist, talented, passionate about her music, but Manfred, her own son, hated music. He hated anything that brought joy or distracted from the Bloor family's obsession with power. When she tried to leave the family, or perhaps just refused to give up her fortune, he slammed a door on her hand.
He didn't just slam it. The book is specific. He systematically crushed her fingers to destroy her ability to ever play the violin again.
It's such a specific kind of evil. It's not, I want to rule the world. It's, I want to destroy the one thing you love. It establishes Manfred as a true monster in a way that just being a hypnotist doesn't quite capture.
It also reinforces that theme you mentioned, blood family versus found family. The Bloors will literally mutilate their own mothers. The Yewbeams send their dying nieces away to protect the sons. Meanwhile, Cook, Charlie, and this ragtag group of kids are risking their lives for Henry, a boy they just met.
The contrast couldn't be clearer.
So we have the heroes, and we have the monsters. Let's talk about the head monster, Ezekiel Bloor. We saw him fail a puzzle in 1916 out of pure arrogance. What is he like now, 90 years later?
He's a husk. He's over 100 years old. He lives in a room in the West Wing that is kept unnaturally hot, probably through magic, to stave off death. He's surrounded by potions and ancient books. He's physically decrepit, but his mind is still sharp, and it's still filled with that same petty hate.
And his motivation for hunting Henry, it isn't some grand strategy, is it? It's not about the timeline or the Red King's legacy.
No, it's pure envy. The book has him call Henry young and hopeful. He hates that Henry skipped the 20th century. Ezekiel had to live through the wars, the aging, the slow decay of his body. Henry just stepped over it all. Ezekiel wants to destroy Henry simply because he can't stand looking at him. It's a reminder of his own mortality.
And he has the Yewbeam aunts helping him. Grandma Bone, Lucretia, Eustacia, Venetia. They are this formidable wall of malice. There's that one scene where they corner Charlie at his house, number 9 Filbert Street, to interrogate him about Henry.
And this is where Uncle Peyton steps up. Peyton Yewbeam is the black sheep, or maybe the white sheep of the family. He's the only adult male Yewbeam who isn't actively evil, but he has a problem with his own endowment.
The light bulb thing.
The light bulb thing. His power is that he boosts electricity. If he gets emotional, or even if he just looks at a light bulb too hard, it explodes. It's completely uncontrolled.
Which has made him a recluse. He just sits in the dark all day to avoid breaking things. But in this scene, he uses it as a weapon.
He does. He deliberately overloads the circuit. He explodes the light bulb right above the ants' heads, plunging the room into darkness and chaos, and gives Charlie the chance to evade their questions and escape. It's a small victory, but it shows that Peyton is willing to fight.
But the Bloors have an ace in the hole. A spy inside Charlie's group. And this part, it just breaks my heart. Billy Raven.
Billy is the central tragedy of the series, I think. He's an orphan, an albino boy who lives at the school year-round. His talent is communicating with animals, and he's so lonely, he's bullied, and he's desperate for a family.
And Ezekiel exploits that desperation perfectly.
He does. He makes Billy a promise. He says that if Billy spies on Charlie and reports back on Henry, the Bloors will adopt him. They offer him parents. For a kid like Billy who has nothing and no one, that's an irresistible bribe. He doesn't want power. He just wants a mom and a dad.
So Billy becomes the mole. He uses his power to talk to the school's dogs, specifically a dog named Blessed, to track Henry's movements. But there's a moment, a specific moment, where Billy crosses a line from being a victim to being an agent of the Bloors.
Yes, the confrontation on the landing. Billy catches Henry trying to move through the school at night. He demands the time twister. Blessed, the dog, is trying to protect the marble or maybe just get in the way. And Billy, He kicks the dog.
That's the moment. He hurts the only creature that truly understands him and communicates with him.
It signifies his total corruption by the Bloor's promise. He sacrifices his empathy, his very nature, for the chance of belonging. And because of Billy's betrayal, the trap is sprung. Manfred and Zelda appear, and they capture Henry.
And the capture sequence is just brutal. They drag this terrified boy from 1916 into the sweltering hot room to face the ancient Ezekiel.
And Ezekiel can't even stand to look at him. The youth, the innocence of Henry, offends him on a visceral level. He just screams, "Take him away." He orders them to put Henry in the dungeon.
But not a cell. They take him to the pit.
Right. It's even worse. Manfred and Zelda march Henry out into the freezing woods. They use Zelda's telekinesis to slide back a massive stone slab that's covering a hole in the ground, and they just throw him in.
It's medieval. A child in a deep, dark hole in the middle of a record-breaking winter.
And critically, Henry doesn't have the time twister anymore. During the scuffle on the landing with Billy, the marble was dropped. It rolled across the floorboards.
And this is a massive mystery point in the book. Billy didn't pick it up. Manfred and Zelda didn't see it. It just vanished.
The text mentions a shadowy figure scooping it up. For a while, you don't know who it was, but later we find out it was Mr. Pilgrim.
We absolutely need to talk about Mr. Pilgrim. He's the piano teacher. He never speaks. He seems almost catatonic, just this ghost who drifts through the school. But he's the one who grabs the most powerful, magical object in the story.
He is. He picks it up, and in secret, he quietly gives it to Gabriel Silk. Gabriel then passes it to Mrs. Bloor the Dark Lady for safekeeping. It suggests that Mr. Pilgrim is far more aware, far more involved than anyone realizes. He's playing a very long game.
He's not just a background character.
Not at all. He's a player.
So while Henry is literally rotting in a pit in the ground, there are these really interesting side plots that add so much flavor to the world. Uncle Peyton's light bulb problem, for instance, he has a major breakthrough in this book.
He does. It's such a great little detail. He's writing a history of the Red King, and he discovers by accident that if he's reading a book while he's walking down the street, his focus is so contained on the text that he doesn't explode the streetlights.
Which means he can finally go out during the day. He can have a life.
Exactly. And the first thing he plans to do is go see Miss Ingledew at the bookstore. There's this very sweet, budding romance there. But the Bloors, or the Yewbeams, they won't allow it. While he's testing this theory near the cathedral, a car mounts the pavement and runs him down.
A hit and run.
It's clearly an assassination attempt. They neutralize the only adult ally who can really help Charlie. Peyton ends up in the hospital, unconscious.
It's just one blow after another for the good guys. And then there's the painting of Scarpo. This was just weird. Grandma Bone leaves a painting of a sorcerer in Charlie's room.
It's a trap. A very strange one. Charlie starts to hear the painting. Just like he hears photographs, he hears chanting, winds coming from it. And the figure in the painting, this sorcerer Scarpo, actually turns and looks at him.
That's terrifying.
It is. And Peyton warns Charlie, this is before the accident, that this is incredibly dangerous. He mentions an ancestor, Charles Pennybuck, who somehow traveled into a painting and never came back.
So the implication is that Grandma Bone wants Charlie to get sucked into the canvas, like to get rid of him.
Or she wants to force his power to evolve so they can use him. If Charlie can enter paintings, he becomes the ultimate spy, or the ultimate thief. They're testing his limits, pushing his powers in a new, dangerous direction.
And just to round out the absolute chaos of their lives, we have the Pets Cafe.
A wonderful location. It's this cafe in the city run by a man named Mr. Onimus, and it's just full of cats, dogs, birds, you name it. It's a safe haven for Charlie and his friends. But even there, safety is an illusion. Asa Pike tracks them down.
And he tries to attack them in beast mode, right?
Or at least in his aggressive pre-beast state. But the animals in the cafe, all the dogs, they fight back. They chase him out. It reinforces this idea that nature itself, the weather, the animals, is somehow allied with Charlie and fighting against the Bloors.
So let's look at the scoreboard as we start to wrap up this deep dive. It's looking pretty grim for the good guys at the end of this book.
It is. It's bleak. Henry is trapped in a pit, freezing to death. Uncle Peyton's in a coma in the hospital. Fidelio, Charlie's best friend, has been hypnotized by Manfred and is basically out of commission.
And the time twister, the one object that can fix any of this, is safe, technically, but it's with Mrs. Bloor, who is terrified of her own shadow and hiding in an attic.
The antagonists have effectively cleared the board. They've isolated Charlie completely.
But I want to circle back to the core theme here, the so what of this whole story. We've talked about magic and time travel and we're beasts, but what is this story really saying?
I think it's a meditation on displacement. Henry is the ultimate displaced person. Even if Charlie manages to get him out of that pit, then what? It's the early 2000s. His sister Daphne died of diphtheria in 1916. His brother James lived a whole life and died an old man. Henry is a ghost who hasn't died yet.
That is heartbreaking. He can never really go home. The home he knew is gone forever.
No. And that tragedy is what gives the book its weight. It's not just a fun adventure. It's about a profound sense of loss. It's about how time moves on without us. And I think it's about the failure of the biological family. The Yewbeams and Bloors are obsessed with their blood, with their lineage from the Red King, but they treat their actual family members, Henry, Dorothy, Pat and like, they're disposable.
Whereas the found family cook, the Flame Cats, Charlie, Gabriel, Fidelio, they provide the warmth, literally in Henry's case and metaphorically for everyone else.
Exactly. That's the real magic in the story.
So I have one final question to leave you with, a provocative thought. We know the time twister works on this thermal lock. It brought Henry here because the weather matched, but was that just a meteorological coincidence?
That is the big question, isn't it?
Did the Red King's magic simply wait for the weather to be right? Or did the marble, this ancient, powerful object, bring Henry to this specific time because he is needed? Is he here just to suffer? Or is he a piece on the board that was saved for the endgame against Ezekiel?
And if we follow that thread, we have to go back to Mr. Pilgrim, the man who silently picked up the marble and put it in safe hands. If he knows where the marble is and knew to grab it, what else does he know? Is he just a piano teacher, or is he another relic of the past who has been waiting for this exact winter for Henry's arrival?
I have a feeling he's a lot more than he seems, but I guess we will have to wait for the next deep dive to find out.
Indeed.
Henry is in the pit, the winter is closing in, and we'll see you next time to find out if he survives. Thanks for listening.